The call for personal responsibility to safeguard ourselves from COVID-19 is ongoing as the country goes through the fifth wave of the outbreak. So let's continue to wear our masks, wash or sanitize our hands, maintain social distance, and get vaccinated. Also, if you're having flu-like or respiratory illnesses, get tested or stay home and isolate until you know what the situation is. It's important to protect not just yourself, but also others. With that out of the way, here's what's coming up inside Jamaica Magazine. Government is putting infrastructure in place to achieve energy security and facilitate a digital and science-driven society. Plus, the Ministry of Finance is providing access to educational scholarships and grants. Hello, I'm Theodore Henry. Welcome.
The travel file application was created by the Transport Authority for the protection of the commuting public. Please download the travel file application on the Google Play Store or the Apple iOS Store. Once you download the application, put in your phone number, register the application under your phone number, and then you'll be able to verify the license plate that you're going in. Once you verify the license plate and the information of the vehicle, you will then be able to share that trip of the vehicle that you're in. And if there is difficulty on the trip, you will be able to push a panic button and share your location with others as well. Download the application, give us our feedback at customerservice@ta.org.jm. Don't forget, it's free to download, free to use.
Here now is your JIS news of the day. Government is providing $1.07 billion to drive agricultural output through the Production Incentive Program this fiscal year. Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries, Pernell Charles Jr., made the disclosure during his recent post-sectoral press briefing.
And $670 million for the Farm Road Program. The activities this year will include $258 million for production of our 12 priority crops, targeting 3,917 hectares and 9,476 farmers, with a focus on roots and as a viable substitute for imported wheat and rice.
An additional $122 million is reserved for livestock production to include small ruminants, poultry, apiculture, fisheries, pork, and rabbit. Another $100 million is for fertilizer support, $35 million to provide equipment, and $250 million for climate change adaptation and mitigation initiatives. Meanwhile, the beekeeping industry is to receive a $10 million subsidy for the purchase of sugar as feed for bee colonies. The Agriculture and Fisheries State Minister Franklin Witter made the announcement at the ministry's World Bee Day celebration on Friday. He says the subsidy is a 100% increase over last year's allocation and will support beekeepers in the months when there is a reduction in nectar-producing plants.
As a ministry, we are aware of the importance of bees and beekeeping within agriculture. Through our apiculture unit in the Research and Development Division, I can confidently say that significant work is being done to ensure that beekeeping industry is supported and remains viable.
As part of the efforts to support the industry, he says the ministry will also be providing over 2,000 nectar-producing plants to beekeepers' associations across the island. Mr. Witter says the ministry has also stepped up hive inspections to safeguard the country's honeybee stock. Jamaica is the main producer of honey in the English-speaking Caribbean, with over 67,000 colonies being managed by beekeepers. Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Desmond McKenzie, says his ministry has been meeting with the Jamaica Public Service Company to resolve a wide range of issues affecting the operation of streetlights across the country. The minister is making his contribution to the sectoral debate in Parliament yesterday. He revealed that government had paid the total $2.9 billion charged by JPS for the provision of streetlights in the last financial year.
We pay an average of $243 million, Philip, on a monthly basis for streetlights. The reality remains, however, that not all the street lights are working. The local authorities and the citizens who fall within these areas across the country deserve better.
Among the issues identified is theft, with the JPS reporting that more than $47 million was spent replacing 723 stolen streetlights. On one thoroughfare alone, the Chesterfield Main Road in St. Andrew, 32 lights and 3,200 meters of service wire have been stolen on separate occasions. Minister Mackenzie says while government continues its consultations with the JPS to address all service issues, residents need to be vigilant to prevent the highways and byways from being plunged into darkness.
It is clear that these criminal acts require the police response. It is not the responsibility for the constabulary alone, Madam Speaker. All of us as Jamaicans, Madam Speaker, because somebody must do something, Madam Speaker. It is the taxpayers of this country. It is the taxpayers of this country, Madam Speaker, that has to foot these expenses, because the JPS somehow will have to recover the cost.
Residents in and around Port Maria now have access to high-speed internet Wi-Fi with 200 megabits of direct internet access. It's the latest town to benefit from the Universal Service Fund USF initiative as part of its Connect Jamaica public Wi-Fi program.
At this ministry, we take particular interest in connecting rural communities to ensure that no one is left behind. And as one who represents a rural constituency, I'm even more aware of the challenges that we face on a day-to-day basis. So as a ministry, the vision is a commitment to the provision of access to technology for all.
The Wi-Fi will benefit residents of Cox, Huntstown, Main, Market, Warner and Stennett Streets, along with other areas. Up to 500 persons can connect to the server simultaneously. Starting next year, Jamaican mothers will be able to leave hospitals with digital copies of their children's birth certificates. Minister without portfolio in the Office of the Prime Minister, Floyd Green, revealed the plan during his sectoral debate presentation in Parliament earlier this week. He says the newborn's information will be collected and registered through a new bedside registration app. The minister adds that once the information is inputted at the mother's bedside, it is automatically uploaded on the Registrar General's Department or RGD's systems.
We have already, Madam Speaker, procured 60 purpose-built tablets which will be distributed to our registration officers. Upon the launch of the app, our registration officers will be able to populate the birth certificate in real time.
Minister Green says RGD records have shown that since the introduction of the bedside registration program, there has been an increase in the number of children being named immediately. The new bedside registration app is being built by the National Identification System, NIDS project, in collaboration with the RGD. And finally, the Ministry of Education and Youth has received 100,000 masks and 5,000 self-test kits to support the mandate for wearing masks at schools and limit or prevent COVID-19 infection. The items were donated by the Ministry of Health and Wellness and the National Health Fund during a ceremony on Wednesday. The Education Minister used the function to urge parents to ensure their children leave home with a mask, while reiterating that no child should be turned away from school, but instead assisted with access to continue face-to-face learning.
There have been a few instances in which we've seen videos on social media where children show up without masks, that they, according to the video, they were turned back, and we do not want to see that in our schools.
We do not want to stop education. At no point during this pandemic we want to prevent them from getting a good education. So I'm very pleased on behalf of the ministry to be here this morning to take part in this wonderful handover ceremony with these masks and the self-test kits.
And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
What a way you're full of our roots and culture. That was in Jamaica 60. Jamaica 60? What a piece of news, Miss Matty. I feel like my heart going bust up.
Just in, the island of Jamaica is on the verge of celebrating its 60th year of independence.
I only way for celebrating it. They say the people them in them come here, you know. But you see when our people decide, say the other people them free paper, burn up, them say if it's war, start it, whatever. We all collect medal pants of it, you know.
Medal.
Amount of tongue we give them, you know.
The celebrations are slated to begin on January 1st, 2022. Organized by the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport. We have more in this report.
I am on site and planning activities are ablaze. Persons are advised to download the Reggae Jamaica app to know what it pre. Activities for the Jamaica 60 celebration.
If you download the app to get the updates then.
Building out the country's technology, science, and energy infrastructure is the driving mission of the Portfolio Ministry. Here are some of the programs and projects being carried out and those to come on stream.
In Jamaica's 60th year of independence, the creation of an enduring legacy in science, energy, and technology is paramount for the advancement of the nation.
The Ministry of Science, Energy and Technology has begun the implementation of activities to build out an ecosystem-associated science, technology and innovation policy. Meanwhile, the multipurpose gamma irradiation facility will be completed this fiscal year. This is to assist in national development, particularly in agriculture, medicine, industry, research and education.
In the short term, this facility will be integral in two major international Atomic Energy Agency technical cooperation projects, which are of vital concern to the country.
The two areas are agriculture crop improvement through experimental technologies and the integrated vector control management approach to control the Aedes aegypti mosquito population. To enable a better understanding of science, several programs are being implemented to engage students and other young persons and to promote viable career options within this field. Government will be spending $30 million over the next 2 years implementing its Energy Management and Efficiency Program, EMEP. The program aims to lower energy consumption in public sector facilities.
The component includes a retrofitting of 80 government facilities with renewable energy and energy-efficient interventions.
Meanwhile, a consultant is being engaged to review and update the 2009 to 2030 National Energy Policy. Minister Vaz says the new legislative framework will diversify the energy mix, providing increased renewable energy for electricity, lessening the dependence on fossil fuels and reducing carbon emissions.
These interventions include solar photovoltaic technology, LED lighting upgrade, and energy-efficient air conditioning technology. The structural and electrical integrity assessment of 12 hospitals, 10 schools, and other public office buildings have been completed to support this effort.
The minister adds that the second Integrated Resource Plan, IRP2, which is designed to achieve a modern electricity grid and a low-cost electricity solution, will also be subject to urgent review. Work is also being advanced for the tabling of 3 pieces of legislation: the Petroleum Downstream Activities Bill, the Electricity Amendment Indemnification and Validation Bill, and the Electricity Amendment Bill. Other renewable initiatives include the pumped hydro storage project and the electrification of public sector fleets. The ministry hopes by the second quarter of the fiscal year to start issuing requests for proposals (RFP) for the procurement of new electricity generation capacity. This will be done under the Generation Procurement Entity (GPE). Steps are being taken to improve the island's data privacy and protection framework as well as its technology infrastructure. Among initiatives is the completion of the data protection regulations, which is targeted for September.
The preliminary drafting instructions have since been received from the consultant, are now being reviewed by the Ministry and the Information Commissioner.
Recommendations submitted for amendments to the Cybercrimes Act are being reviewed and will be presented to Parliament in short order. And the full rollout of the eGov core networking equipment infrastructure is expected in August of this year to boost government's communications network, GovNet.
This will be done through the build-out of the fiber network in the KMA, the build-out of the network core by receiving, installing, and configuring the networking equipment, the laying of the fiber cables across the KMA, and the connecting of 50 entities onto this network.
Continuing its high bandwidth connectivity in the education sector, 341 schools are to be connected within the fiscal year under the National Broadband Initiative. Steps are also being taken to speed up the development of a national broadband strategy and start the procurement process for the network by March 2023. As for providing access to internet services, the ministry will complete the remaining 88 community Wi-Fi sites by May 31 this year and establish 6 new public Wi-Fi hotspots by March 2023. The ministry will also continue the procurement and distribution of technological devices under the Tablets in Schools rollout project. Science, energy, and technology being positioned as solutions to challenges and transformation to a digital society.
The minister with responsibility for climate change, Senator Matthew Samuda, and a team of volunteers removed 105 bags of solid waste along a section of the Kingston Harbour on the weekend. It was part of a pre-Labor Day exercise to build awareness of the impact of improper garbage disposal on marine life.
For us, it's not just a beach cleanup. It is data gathering, it's sensitization. We believe in addressing the problem of environmental stewardship on multiple fronts.
This is a problem that is multi-layered, it's collective, and it's not as simple as it sometimes appears. So it's going to require all of us, and not least of all the private sector. At the end of the day, we need everybody to pull in the same direction if we're to really break the back of this problem.
The more awareness that we can create about the issue is the more we can try to lobby for persons to change their behavior and for proper collection systems to be in place so that we can really change the amount of waste going into our harbors.
It's a wider issue than just coming to clean up the beach. It's a waste management issue, and I believe that the harbor has that issue. We're talking about the gullies that lead into the harbor. And until we get some absolute solutions to that, the most we can do as corporate entity is to support initiatives of this nature, just to alleviate some of the waste as we can at this time.
So what the KEEM project aims to do is sensitize all the communities that are bordered by the gully to how to manage their waste. So our core mandate is to stop the solid waste, all the solid waste, from reaching the Barnes Gully, which will eventually reach the Kingston Harbour and will damage the mangroves. We hope to rehabilitate the mangroves.
We've not developed since independence in a structured, well-planned manner. And the effects are seen everywhere. It's with your water waste, your liquid waste, your effluent, and indeed the solid waste that you can see. We have a lot of work to do. There's no nice way to put it. And we're going to have to invest very heavily on the appropriate infrastructure to keep waste out of our waterways, while ensuring that we also upsize the size of our fleet that NSWMA operates to be able to collect from persons. That, however, doesn't take away the personal responsibility that citizens bear. You don't have to take the easy way out and throw something in a gully or a drain or a waterway. We need to insist that our neighbors, our friends do the right thing, which is if you have to hold your waste a little longer until you get closer to our bin, please do so. This is literally crippling the potential of the Kingston Harbour.
Did you know that you can access scholarships through the Ministry of Finance? This is open to both public sector workers and the general public. And to add something extra, public officers and their children can apply for grant funding. Let's hear more from Donovan Leon in the Scholarships and Assistance Unit.
Jamaica's human capital is the backbone of our economy, and the government of Jamaica is invested in ensuring that they are empowered through education. The Scholarship and Assistance Unit at the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service administers several scholarship opportunities to help public servants to achieve their educational goals. Hello, I'm Daniel Pasley, and welcome to Finance Matters. In today's episode, I'll be talking to Mr. Donovan Leon, Chief Workforce Planning Officer of the Scholarship and Assistance Unit. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow the Ministry of Finance on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter to see all the episodes and highlights. Thank you, Mr. Leon, for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Now, what is the role of the Scholarship and Assistance Unit?
So the Scholarships and Assistance Unit within the Strategic Human Resource Management Division of the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service is the arm that facilitates training and development for the public sector at large.
Okay.
Also, we also facilitate training for ordinary citizens. And so we are in a very pivotal role in coordinating some of the training activities that we receive from our international partners.
And some of the international partners could include?
So you're talking about Cuba, China, Serbia, from a number of our developmental partners, inclusive of those that we have local counterparts, so like JICA, which is the Japan International Cooperation Agency. You have the India High Commission, a lot of them. So we have roles, we have scholarship opportunities that are fully funded, that is administered through us, as well as capacity building initiatives. So for example, we will have a training in a specific area, like for example, solid waste management. And our role is to coordinate those training activities with those entities within the public service that has a mandate. So naturally, like National Works Agency or National Solid Waste Agency would be some of our picks for a course like that. So we normally coordinate those opportunities to ensure that there's training for all.
So in other words, the Scholarship and Assistance Unit aligns the various scholarship programs to the strategic goals of each public sector organization, basically.
Yeah, more so
or role.
2030.
Right.
As per the national goals, you find that we are very highly invested and integrated in this, the idea of facilitating training. Of course, you know that there's a very big transformation effort by the GOJ, and a part of that is learning and development. So we are one of those prongs in facilitating learning and development through our international partners.
So let us know a little bit more about some of the scholarship opportunities that are provided.
All right, so one of the mainstays that we have is normally the Cuba scholarship. That's the one for medicine. We normally get on average maybe about 70 to 80 applicants per year for about 5 spaces, so it's highly competitive.
Yeah.
We have the Chinese scholarship, which normally for various thematic areas, medicine being one of them, engineering, if I recall correctly. And of course, you have the Serbian scholarship. And from time to time, I think the most recent, we had one from Russia. We currently have about 1 student still completing studies there. And so, I mean, as I said before, it's opportunities from all over. But it should be noted that once we get these opportunities, that they are competitive in nature. So you have to come with your A game. That is, especially for like students who are leaving from high school to go into the tertiary education, you have to have competitive grades. And not only that, we also encourage you to have a high level of community involvement or some indication, because one of the things that we find is important. It's not having the academic prowess only, but you must have a sense of civic duty.
So you must have a holistic approach.
Holistic approach.
So in terms of some of the grants that are provided, I know that there may be one for public officers and children of public officers. Could you explain a little bit more about that?
Sure. So under the heads of agreement arrangement between the government and the respective unions, in that contract document, the government and the unions collectively have bargained for certain benefits, which includes elements of education, under which the public sector workers fall under, and the children of public sector workers, which you just described. And so under those two arrangements, a public sector worker can apply up to for $150,000 towards their educational assistance. It is a one-way flow, so there's no payback.
Right.
It's really the government's commitment to say that I'm helping you to develop yourself further. And if I am to add some numbers to it, since the last contract period between 2017 up to 2021, which was subsequently renewed, under the public sector workers, we assisted some 4,000 public sector workers to the tune of over $450 million.
Wow.
And so it's a real significant commitment from the government in terms of, and it's grant funds, so there's no...
You don't have to worry about paying back a loan.
It's not a loan. And so, and it's all for all areas. So it's from CXCs, and mind you, you do have persons in the public service that are still doing CXCs.
Okay.
You have going right up to masters and PhDs, as well as professional exams.
And if you want to find out some more information about some of the scholarship opportunities that are facilitated by the Scholarship and Assistance Unit, how can we do so?
So it's at the ministry's website, www.mof.gov.jm/scholarships. So from time to time, once we are in receipt of invitations from our partners, we normally have them listed on our site. Sometimes we also go to the print. And of course, our relevant media handles, or social media handles, they're also posted there from time to time. We are, though, in the effort of trying to coordinate with our partners, so there's a more predictable pattern. So persons can guard them, gather their stuff together when these scholarship opportunities come around, because we really want to see greater uptake, we really want to see greater levels of participation, and that can only happen through greater access to information. And so we are trying to ensure that we have information that is timely, that is accurate, and will help you, the prospective student, to get as much information as required to advance your educational goals.
Well, thank you, Mr. Leon, for coming on the program and sharing a wealth of information.
Thank you, man. It's a pleasure.
And thank you for joining us on Finance Matters. Remember to join us next week for another exciting episode. I'm Daniel Pasley, and have a great day.
This is where our journey ends, but only for today. Join us again tomorrow when we bring you another informative program. In the meantime, stay connected via our website, jis.gov.jm. And while you're online, send your feedback to Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm or via tweet at JISnews. You may also find us on all the major social media platforms and through our mobile app that's both Android and iOS compatible. On behalf of the production crew, I am Theodore Henry. Take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.